The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Randy and Proulx, and thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming and, in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. As about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show as well as previous shows on our website at z2z.com. This is episode 123. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, or at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, it's just a two-man show, and of course my intro can't cop the awesome intro that we got last week from Clem herself. That is fantastic, but I'm back after a nice, well-rested vacation, and I'm joined by Proulx. How you doing, Proulx?
Well, I didn't have a whole vacation last week, but I'm also sick. So really the question is, Fream, how are you doing?
You know, despite what my voice sounds like, I've been dealing with this cold now for quite some time, and I just got back from a cruise. My family and I took a Disney cruise last week, and so I was completely out of touch from the world. It is remarkable what completely unplugging yourself from the universe is like. It's both freeing and terrifying at the same time. But once you get into open sea where there's no internet, and I mean technically I can get internet, but I'm not going to pay the exorbitant prices that there is, and so being away from the internet for 5 days is crazy. Anyway, so let me just tell you what had happened to get out to this cruise. Many of you know, so we live up in Minnesota, and we're coming up to the cruise here, and my daughter is like, I think I had mentioned in the last show that it was my daughter's birthday, and she had given the flu to everybody. Mm-hmm. Myself included. Mm-hmm. And so she's known as the outbreak monkey. And so anyway, sure enough, Thursday, before we leave for our cruise comes around, and she's sporting a fever and is in Puke City. And it's like, oh no. Okay, oh dear. And so I had to was planning on recording last week Friday, and then I told you, Proulx, last minute, I was like, okay, look, I know, my daughter's sick, we're panicking, things are getting crazy. And so she, I ended up staying up late dealing with her, and we're thinking, great, my daughter is going to make it so we can't go on this cruise because she's got this fever. That, on top of the fact that we have this ridiculous blizzard coming in to just destroy Minneapolis. Tons and tons of snow. It's unbelievable what was coming in. And then, sure enough, I get sick on Saturday before we leave on Sunday. So we're watching the news thinking, okay, what do we got here? Inches upon inches of snow coming down, blizzard conditions. It snowed literally for 12 hours straight. We ended up getting 14 inches of snow, I think.
Jeez.
Up in my neighborhood. And we're watching, and it's like, so they shut down the airport, and we're looking at the next day's worth of flights, and we're flying out on Sun Country, and they had canceled all of their flights except ours to Orlando. And it's like, how is this even possible? Like, how have you not canceled our flight? Well, the problem is that because they didn't cancel our flight, our travel insurance wouldn't kick in. So we can't book another flight until it gets canceled. Otherwise, it's totally out of our pocket. And so we're like, white knuckles just thinking, how the hell are we? This is impossible. Like, you just cancel the flight. There's no way you're going to fly tomorrow because it's not going to stop snowing until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Like, it's not possible. I don't get it. I don't get it. And so anyway, we wake up at 3 a.m. and are looking at the thing, and it's still on. It's still happening. Well, it has died down, and I had gone and shoveled. I'd snowblowed my driveway at like a 10 p.m. that night, and it was so deep. So my snow thrower is about 2 feet, right? So and so when I'm like cutting through, and I get these like drifts in my yard. And so, like, there were times when, like, I would make a tunnel with my snow thrower because the drifts had come over the top of it. I mean, it's, like, up to my chest. I mean, we're talking 3 feet worth of snow because of these drifts and things. I mean, it's just insane how much snow there was. And so I bail that sort of thing out, and when we wake up that next morning, we, pile into the car and see that it's not canceled. We're like, all right, I mean, we got to go down there. I don't know how this is going to happen, but we got to go down there. And sure enough, we get into the car, and this is now 5 a.m., and my street isn't plowed at all. And so we get in my wife's car, and we go barreling down and get stuck at the bottom of our driveway. It's like,
oh no!
Are you freaking kidding me? So we start pushing and getting some distance, getting some momentum going, and excuse me, and so she's like, "Get out! You got to push. We got to go." And so I get enough momentum on the car. She starts going and just starts driving down the street. And so I have to go back into the garage, get the shovel, throw that back in, and I see her go all the way down the block. And then they had plowed our main road. And so she turns to take a right, and I'm like, okay, good. She's going to stop at the end of the street and wait for me. And so I go running down the street. She didn't stop to wait for me. No, she went into a 4-foot snowbank and is now stuck inside this 4-foot snowbank.
Oh, no.
And so she is pinned in that she can't even open her door to get out. And so, I mean, we are like as best we can trying to dig shovels, trying to like unbury my car from this thing, and I'm pushing. We're there for about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden the plow comes back through, and the guy stops the plow and throws some salt under our wheels, and he actually comes and helps push. And so he and I push. We were like ready to let my 9-year-old son drive the car. Like, we needed the extra pushing, and so thankfully, we didn't have to do that. But so the plow driver and I were able to get the car free and go. And at that point, we're like, we're running late. And so we threw our shovels into our neighbor's yard, and we're like, we'll text him when we get to Orlando. Like, we just need to go. And so we flew and got there. And sure enough, the only 2 flights that were going out that day were because Sun Country happens to fly, their home base is Minneapolis. And so the only 2 flights that went out are because there were 2 flights that happened to be in Minneapolis. The 2 planes happened to be here. And so we were one of the only 2 flights that left. And we made it down there, and it was just ridiculous. But so anyway, unfortunately, my daughter still got me sick. And I just haven't recovered, because despite it being a nice, relaxing vacation, I don't know, Proulx, have you ever been on a cruise before?
I have. I took one in Bermuda when I was a teenager. So. And
did you have a lot of how were you island hopping? Were you on the sea most of the time? What was kind of the itinerary?
I think we went to 2 separate islands. It was only a day, like an overnight cruise. I think we only stayed there once. So it was just kind of enjoy the cruise for the night, and then we'll go from place to place. It was enjoyable.
Sure. So yeah, our cruise, we left in the evening, and then that we went to the Bahamas, on the first day, spent a day in the Bahamas, and then we went to another Bahamian island, Disney's island, Castaway Cay. We went there for a day, and then we spent a day at sea, and then came back. And so, you have all these activities just on top of each other, just packed. And so, you have to wake up early so you can disembark the boat, and then you have all these activities you're going to do all day, and then we were just constantly doing stuff. And so, I never really got any rest, and I was taking tons of medication to try and just not be hacking up a lung on the flight, and not, on the boat, and not trying to make anyone else sick in all these close quarters. So I never really recovered, and you can hear it now with the multiple coughs I'm going to be giving you out throughout this show. So I'm hoping I can at least get through this. But in terms of activities, it was great. I fed some stingrays. That was fun. That was a unique experience. I was hugging dolphins. And actually, I so as part of the little bit, you give them a hug, and then they come in and you give them a kiss on their little nose, right? And of course, me being the dad of the family, it gives my daughter a kiss, and then gives my son a kiss, and then gives my wife a kiss, and then I give it the hug, and then they come back, and I go for the kiss, and it razzes me, it spits water all over my face, does the whole bit, and I'm like, oh, come on, finally I get my smooch. Apparently it was a great picture. I haven't seen the picture. I don't know if I'm going to pay $15 for the picture. That's the other thing that happens, is you end up getting fleeced for all the videos and stuff. But it was great. Weather was fantastic. Seasickness, like apart from the first night, nobody got sick per se, but like the first night I was a little wobbly, and especially when I closed my eyes to go to sleep, and it was like it was just me in the blackness and just the rocking of the boat, and I was like, oh man, there's no way I'm going to fall asleep. I feel so drunk right now, like just from the motion. But that went away, and it was fine. And so I was surprised actually about that.
Was that as bad as like how being drunk in Sea of Thieves is?
Oh, Sea of Thieves drunk is way worse.
Yeah,
like,
figured.
There were some times, like I do recall, like, so, on the Disney cruise, they have a theater, and they do actual live performances. So there were like 4 shows. They were fantastic. The shows were just amazing. But I remembered going to the bathroom at one of the shows, and I was standing there in the urinal, and all of a sudden the boat kind of drifted, and they're like, whoa, and I leaned like way into the urinal, and I was like, oh, okay, yep, I'm still on a boat. Like you kind of forgotten a little bit, and then you realize when you're trying to aim something, then that's when it really becomes pronounced that
sure.
Things are you're not on level ground. And even today when I woke up this morning, like, first thing you do in the morning, and I'm standing there, and whoa, I'm like kind of wobbling back and forth, don't have my land legs back yet, as what the Water World had said. It was interesting. It was unique, and it was fun. I would do it again. I still think I like land-based vacations better, because there's more freedom. You don't feel like you're on as tight of a schedule, like you have to do all these things. Maybe I'd feel less like that if since I've already done it now. Like I don't feel like I have to go do this or do that on this trip, or like a next trip I do. But anyway, now that being said, though, I since I've been out all week, I haven't really played any video games. I have a few things I want to talk about, but Proulx, what have you been up to? Fill me in on what's been happening this last week.
Oh, oodles and noodles. That's not really true. I played some stuff this week. Last Saturday, I think I played through Mr. Pumpkin Adventure. Have you heard of this game, Fream?
I watched the TA stream of it, and it is currently in my pool of RTDL possibilities, and I think it came up once, but I didn't play it. So I'm vaguely familiar with it, yes. Yeah,
it's a quirky little point and click. It's got a lot of charm and flavor to it, but I think it took less than an hour to complete with a guide, and it's silly and fun. I mean, as fun as point and clicks can be, I suppose, but it's got some humor to it, so it wasn't such a bad experience.
Did you have any delusions about trying to do that without a guide?
Oh no way.
Just doesn't interest you?
No, those sorts of things. I'm picking a game that's cheap, easy for Gamerscore, and as a point and click, I'm going to follow the guide, absolutely, without a doubt. I have no interest in sitting there trying to click the part of the screen that the game won't tell me that I need to click on. So, but it was good. It was good for what it was. Hopped on board an impromptu Sea of Thieves session
I saw some grumblings about that. How'd that go?
It went really well. It was me and Kronos and Kingsman, and I knew I was going to forget someone, and I am so if I saw the name in front of me, I knew who it was. Anyways, one of our other community members was there.
Who? Fug?
Oh, it was Fug. Yeah, thank you. It was Fug. Of course it was Fug. Sorry, Fug. I hope he forgets me. it's not like I forget who he is. Anyway, so yeah, we all got into they were already playing, and I hopped in. They were looking for a fourth, and it was amazing as far as achievements went. I got a bunch of the ones that I had already unlocked, but never popped for me. So those came right away. And then we just did some of the missions, and we found two guys. So we were obviously in a galleon, and we found two guys in a sloop who Kingsman jumped off the ship, swam. We caught up to their boat. Kingsman jumped off the ship, swam over there, switched to game chat, was like, hey, we're not going to kill you guys. We just want to get some of these achievements. So they joined our party, and we did a whole bunch of cooperative stuff together that you can't do with just a full crew.
Sure, right. The playing music on a boat, and did you do the race?
We did. Well, that was the climax of our adventure. So we kind of shot ourselves from cannons onto the other ship, and we did the attack and block and then attack again sorts of stuff. Puke on a guy with a sword out and that sort of thing.
Right.
We got a whole bunch of achievements. I mean, I think I got like 900 TA during this one session. It wasn't even that long. It was awesome. And then so we did all that sort of stuff, and the guys were like, yeah, come on, we'll just have some fun. And there's an achievement for racing another ship for a while. Like, you have to do it for a while. And they're like, yeah, we've done this before. We'll try it. It was interesting because, like I said, we were in a 4-person crew. We were in a galleon, and they were in a sloop. So it was trying to match the speed was a bit of a challenge.
Sure.
Not for me, because I just sat in the crow's nest and watched. But
right.
For the people who actually,
had to manage.
Yep, they had to manage the ship. And there was one moment that was especially tense where we were very close to each other. We were right next to each other, and we were coming on to the edge of the map, and we had to all turn. And man, the turn was so tight, and we barely avoided colliding them. And we were all laughing and having a good time. We had a really good time, and these people were great. So I can't remember the random people that we found, but they were on TA. So in fact, one of them has the solution, the top-rated solution for that achievement specifically.
Oh, interesting.
But so it was cool. We had a lot of fun. Like I said, 900 TA, I think, like 200 Gamerscore. But that was a great session. And if every session like that was in Sea of Thieves, I think maybe my opinion would be a little bit better. But so that was Sea of Thieves.
So has your opinion changed at all? I mean, do you feel any differently about it? Or you still feel bamboozled? Where do you end up standing on this?
I think there's not enough game in Sea of Thieves. I think that I know most people acquired it through Games Pass, but I don't think it's worth the $60. I know all the content's coming free as far as we know so far.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's enough meat on the bones. I think that what's there is a good foundation for a good game. And there's a lot of fun to be had even now, but not enough to be considered, a full retail AAA release. Because once you get past that, like, we had fun because we were hunting achievements and we found some other people to do it. That's not going to be your experience every time.
Oh, no, not at all.
In fact, your experience almost every time is going to be pretty cut and paste. And that's my problem with the game. So I recognize that there are ways to have fun with that game and chances to really enjoy yourself with especially with a good crew. But there's just not enough game for me. And I think that's the biggest problem. Like, that's why I say, like, I can imagine at the end of the year reading lots of articles that say, Sea of Thieves is great now, why you should give it a second chance. And I expect all that sorts of stuff. Because if they really do support it the way that they say they're going to support it, yeah, I can see that. But there's got to be a level of polish and a level of content that's there from the get-go. In order for you to, this is just that same sort of thing that we've seen with Destiny and The Division, and what we'll probably see with Anthem, all these sorts of shared open world sort of games. Yeah, it doesn't seem that, like, the developers are learning their lessons very much, but so that's kind of how I feel about the game. There is fun, but there needs to be more. So
right, I gotcha. So what else you been up to?
I finished Cars 2.
Ooh, that sounds like a real burner.
So I brought this up. You have kids. Maybe have you seen Cars 2?
No.
Okay.
I can't say that I've actually sat through it. It's one of those, I've seen pieces of it. I'm like, this is bad.
So, and I brought this up last week, so I don't want to tread this conversation too much, but it kind of sparked a little bit of chat in the Discord. But apparently Cars 2 is a spy movie? Like, again, this is just coming from the actual game itself.
Tomater gets like confused for being, it's like an Inspector Gadget essentially.
It's silly. It's very silly. The game was fine. Not offensive. It's easy, and games with gold, man, it's free. Price is right now, but very backloaded, which was cool. So you just play through the story mode, and then all of a sudden everything else is just clean up. So that was it. Let's see. Other than that, I've been playing through Dragon Age 2, getting some of the DLC I've never done. This is a game that I have on my RTDL that I picked out last month, actually, because I had one last month as well. And I said, I want to get this game done. And this is really motivating me to get everything done in this game, which is awesome. I'm very excited. I'm getting very close. I'm in the third act now, and I think I'll be finishing that up within the week, I imagine. So 2 other games I've started. I started Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris.
Okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend was looking for a game to play co-op with, and hey, that was free for Games with Gold a while back, so we decided to start playing it. And it's very similar, of course, to Guardian of Light, which I have played before. But we're enjoying it quite a bit. We've only played the first level, or two levels, I think. But it's cool. It's co-op fun. Couch co-op fun, so...
You can play like 4 people on that one, though,
You
right?
You can. But since there are only 2 of us, we were only playing 2. And that's it, except for playing a bunch of Bridge Constructor Portal. But you will hear all about that coming up here in Reviews.
Delightful. So I, like I said, I didn't do a lot. I played a decent amount of stuff today. Just I had some time while the kids were playing. The wife was sleeping. But let's talk about last week, the week prior, when we made a ton of progress in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare for the Xbox One. I am down to my last 2 achievements in that game. I have to do the Vampire Super Wave and killing vampires. So I'm really excited. Hopefully we wrap that Thursday night session up, and then maybe I can find a crew to do the same in the Xbox One or the 360 version, because I still don't have the vampires in that one either. And then get both of the Plants vs. Zombies done. But you know what that means then? It opens up the Thursday night boosting crew to do something else. Although, technically, I should be having baseball games that night. No, Thursday nights should still be open. I'll be done with baseball by that time. So we need a new game. So if we should start thinking about what we want to work on as a crew, what makes sense. If there's anything fun that people are looking to do. But so yeah, we're probably a few more weeks of that, and we'll be wrapped up.
So you don't want to move immediately on to Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2?
I don't. I think I need a little break from Plants vs. Zombies.
That's fair enough.
For a little time being. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see the announcement for Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 3 and get really excited, but not in the interim here. The other thing is, and today, as you've probably seen on my friend feed, I've been delving deep into the Microsoft games, whatever you call them, the Windows games, Mahjong and Jigsaw and Word games. So I've been just chipping away a lot of the stuff like that. I intend to do my marathon in the month of May. The reason I wasn't going to do it this month is because I knew I was going to take 5 days away from my computer, so I wasn't going to be able to do the days in a row. So I didn't bother in April, but May will be my month. We'll see if I end up pulling a Fream or not.
Is that just for solitaire, or are there other games that have the same sort of thing?
Ton of them. I think Word games and Jigsaw do.
So you're planning on doing all of them in the same month?
I'm going to do all of them. Yes. I'm going for the golds. I'm going for the... it shouldn't be a problem to get my bronze medals this month. I pretty much have those all already. I'll probably get my silvers too. I don't know. I mean, that one's less because you only need 10 of those, so I can take 2 months off, really. And then, 8 golds, a diamond. I'll figure it out, but I definitely need my bronze for the year-long thing, and hopefully by next year I can actually tell you that I'm done with those.
I wish they ported them all to mobile. That would make it much easier.
Fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So today I decided, I better do some random to-do list stuff, and I'm woefully far behind on my Gamer Tag Challenge. So I decided to pick off the first of one of my RTDLs, and that was ACA Neo Geo Last Resort. And this is simply for posting a score to the online rankings. And I was like, okay, well, that shouldn't be too bad. So I said, well, let's go for my high score mode. Let's see if I can do that one. Get the 80,000 points and then post that score. So I did. I got the 80,000, but I didn't upload my score. It wouldn't register for some reason. I'm like, this is stupid. What the hell? It's like, all right, well, let me just play then the normal game, and I'll go for my 400,000 points. And to do that, you go into the settings and change your lives to 99, right? So you have 99 lives, and you can just keep playing. There's a couple places you can grind out, but I decided to play it straight through. I ended up getting decently far and scored my 400,000. I still had 50 some lives left, even though I died just a ton of times. But I did that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to just keep dying 48 times, so I'll just quit. Like, oh, crap, that doesn't let me upload my score.
Yeah.
So then I figured out, okay, well, all right, I got to play the main game, and I need to score enough points to get on the leaderboard. And so I set it to one guy, didn't do it. I set it to 3, I didn't do it. So I was like, come on. So what should have taken me an hour ended up taking me 2 or 3 to do all this.
That's my entire experience with ACA games. This is my entire experience.
Just obnoxious. But anyway, but I completed the game, so it's done. I finished it. It's over. ACA Neo Geo is done and off the books. I can regretfully put one more ACA game on my random to-do list feed, or for a possibility. But, all right, ACA's done with that one. Then I moved on to my next RTDL, which was Fat City. And Fat City is just a simple puzzle game, pretty darn easy. And all I had to do was finish all the jobs in Queens. I needed 6 more levels to do. I play them legit. I'm not using a guide on that one. So I ended up finishing those. Didn't get all the diamonds. I missed 3 levels of getting all the diamonds, but I finished all those levels. And then I moved to Yasai Ninja. Of course, that has a Y for Cowboy Killer. And I ended up getting 8 achievements in that, looking for these stupid ninja turnips. I only needed 6 ninja turnips to get my random to-do list achievement. But turns out in the last 3 levels of the game, there are no, ninja turnips. So I killed all of those. I killed a bunch of spicy chilies. I killed a bunch of armored cucumbers, killed a bunch of archers, and I beat the game. And so I got the last 3 story level achievements, and for some reason, I assure you, I was playing as the radish guy, the Kiryuga. What is the radish dude's name? Do you know? Or the onion?
I have no idea what you're even talking about, Fream.
In Yasai Ninja.
I don't know what that is, man.
You haven't played that?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Yasai is Japanese for vegetable.
Okay.
And it's so because there's another one that's Kairuga's Revenge, but I thought Kairuga was the name of the onion guy. He's an onion samurai, but he's not, I guess, because I think Kairuninaga, I can't even pronounce it, is the bad cucumber guy.
Naturally,
you got to destroy his army. I don't know. Anyway, it says, oh no, that's the Shogun. So I beat the Shogun as the onion guy, and I got the achievement for beating him as Broccoli Joe, which I don't get, because you have to beat it twice. You have to beat it once as Broccoli Joe and once as the radish or the onion guy, and it's like, well, but I did as the onion guy, and it didn't work. So what the hell? I don't know what's going on. We'll see. I also have to beat it on co-op, which isn't great, but especially because it's couch co-op. I'm not looking forward to that. And I gotta go. I think you can do like an episode select, so I just gotta find an episode that has 6 Ninja Turnips and just finish those off. But that'll be my plan here to get that RTDL one off the books. So that's what I had done just today. I do plan on playing some more Sea of Thieves tomorrow. That'll be my last Sea of Thieves for the Game of the Month section here. But I think, that's kind of it for what I've been playing. Let's go talk a little bit of news. Let me first mention how awesome that Walking Dead intro was. The getting the voice of Clem, Melissa, to do our intro. So that was Warren who did that, right?
Yeah, I believe so. That's pretty cool, huh?
That is fantastic. So when I showed up, we came in from the airport yesterday. There was a package on my door, and my wife's like, what the hell is this? Like, who's Warren? And I was like, oh, that's planting. That's great. Like, I don't know what this is. I bet I could probably a poster or something. I don't know. So I ended up opening it up, and sure enough, it was a Walking Dead poster. And, I see it's got that flip side. Have you seen the two? You've obviously seen Walking Dead Season 1, where, it's got Lee and he's holding Clem kind of back. He's got the axe in his hand with Clem wrapped around his leg there. Mm-hmm. And then the new, the season finale, the series finale for The Walking Dead here is got Clementine kind of in a similar pose with the little AJ. Girl, AJ, and very similar pose. You put them side by side, and you're like, there it is. And so it's a poster where it has both those on either side. So the Lee side is that, and then you flip it over to the Clem side, and sure enough, right there is an autograph with a little heart, saying, Clem, anyway, it was awesome, Warren. It's such a cool thing. I'm like, oh, look at this. I'm super excited. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'll have to put it in my little game room once I make it, but that's super cool. So that was awesome. And then hoping, I wasn't even sure we'd be able to record this week, especially given my voice and all, but turns out, Proulx, you guys didn't put anything on the Trello page. So nope. We don't really have anything to talk about. We have lots of things to talk about, Fream. We have lots of things to talk about. I found 2 things that did tickle my fancy. The first one here was a piece of news that popped up that Valve has acquired Campo Santo. They're the studio that created Firewatch, and they're making a new game called In the Valley of Gods. It's kind of like a what is it? Firewatch meets 1920s archaeology in the what is it? The Finding King Tut's tomb, right? Okay. That's where the setting is. Mm-hmm. Looked kind of cool. But anyway, so first of all, that's great. Like, Campo Santo is a super cool developer. I thoroughly enjoyed Firewatch. I think in the Valley of Gods looks really cool, but what I don't get is, I was under the impression Valve didn't really care about video games anymore. I mean, they care in the sense that they own Steam and they want all the money they possibly can get through Steam. But what's the purpose of acquiring Campo Santo? Why acquire a developer? What is the benefit here? I don't know. This is kind of a weird move, right? Because Valve has been relatively quiet on the gaming front, obviously, like you say, other than the whole owning and having Steam. But as far as game development goes, not a whole lot going on there. And right. Why this particular indie developer? I know Firewatch is well regarded, but certainly there must be some talent there or some technology, I guess. But I don't know if there's anything really amazing about what they've been using that is enticing to look. It is such a weird move. There's got to be something that we're not seeing. Yeah, I mean, I can't, because, like, what? Valve really is only, right now, apart from Steam, as far as games go, they're really only doing Dota, right? Dota 2 and ongoing support for that. And then they had that announcement with the, like, new Valve game, and it was that stupid card game, that Dota card game,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Artifact or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, people are thinking, oh, man, it's going to be Half-Life 3, it's going to be Portal 3, it's going to be Left 4 Dead 3. It's like, it could be something new, whatever. And it was Artifact. And like, well, that's not really what I wanted. But it's like, I don't know what. Well, of course, Valve is doing. Are they doing anything in particular with like VR stuff?
You know what? There was they had some sort of connection to some VR. I remember, but of course, VR is kind of quiet as well nowadays. It's not. Yeah. It's not lighting the world on fire either. So this move from what is publicly available makes no sense. It seems to be that they were missing some sort of piece here that would explain everything. Maybe they decided they don't want to do this in-house themselves, and they are buying this company to create Half-Life 3. Freem, what do you think about that?
Maybe
they're not.
No,
there's no way.
That's not happening. But like, I don't know. Apparently, and so I'm looking at. They were talking to Gabe Newell about. Obviously, he's is he head of Valve? Anyway, certainly one of the founders. I'm fairly
certain he just owned out. Yeah.
Yeah. He, so he was talking about, Artifacts being, one of the new games that they're actually going to start to ship, that they've been away from shipping games for such a long time. And I guess a quote that he said was, Artifact is the first of several games that are going to come from us. So that's sort of good news. Hooray! Valve's going to start shipping games again. I'm trying to think, where did he say that? That was a panel that he had for when he's talking about Artifact. And so, maybe that that's something we missed, that they had this long-term plan of, we're going to really get back into shipping and making games, or be more of a publisher, or, diversify. I don't know. Do you think there's concern about backlash for, just how Steam is being handled, or, there's issues about being a monopoly, and they're, possibly going to have to divest some of their, stake in that, so other, online or digital distributors can balance out the competitive market. They clearly aren't worried about the Microsoft Store, because the Microsoft Store is garbage. I don't know. Ubisoft's online portal, EA Origins, like everybody's Blizzard.
But all that stuff is such a blip. Like compared to the juggernaut that is Steam. I don't know. Again, like I said, it's weird. It's this particular indie developer. What do they have? With one, as far as I'm aware, one really good game under their belt. What's going on there? It doesn't really make any sense unless. It's got to be for a game. It has to be. There's no other. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. But of course, we don't know all the information, so it's all speculative at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What the heck? What are they doing?
I don't know. I will admit that, Firewatch was a very unique experience, and there are aspects of it that can, kind of remind you of things that they had done in Portal. Kind of in crafting the world and creating a great narrative experience, and doing some unique, very character-driven story elements. But so many other developers have done stuff like that. It's not to say that Campo Santo isn't great at what they did, but they're certainly not alone in having a really strong and robust, backlog of IP that they're looking at, right? It's one game, 2 games now. Maybe there's a third in development, depending on how far along In the Valley of Kings is.
I would, if it is the case that they're purchasing them to actually create games, and you're listening, Valve, I would definitely pay good money for Portal 3 or Left 4 Dead 3. I don't care about Half-Life 3, but if they are actually going back to publishing new games, yeah, those two franchises for me would be where it's at.
Yeah. Of course, Half-Life 3 isn't going to be
real.
Talked about this before. It's never even if it does come out, it's never going to remotely be close to what people expect.
Yeah.
Like, just the concept though of something that what they pioneered with Half-Life 1 and especially 2 in genre defining type gaming aspects. Like, could they do the same thing with Half-Life 3? And it's just that we're just thinking of a new story in a very similar vein of Half-Life 2, when in reality it's something that we can't even fathom because it's so revolutionary. Like, that would be cool. Like, I'd be down for something like that just blows your mind because it's just absolutely never been done before. But it's so hard to think about what that means, I've been so on the trip, I decided to start reading Ready Player One.
Yeah, okay.
Before the movie, did you see the movie? Did you read the book?
I read the book years ago. I think when it was first came out. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, and I haven't either. And I thought, this will be great. It's about video games. I'm really excited, and just some of the concepts I talk about in there. Like, you can see the foundations of kind of things that we already have, these immersive VR experiences, and people spending more time on social media and being plugged in and glued to their phone than they do in real life, and just the natural extension of all these to what has ended up being this perpetual virtual world where people just go to school and they do everything in this virtual world, and everybody essentially lets the earth go to crap. And it's like you can see these extensions in that book, and then kind of the next step they take, and they're like, oh yeah, how come I never conceptually could think of that? Like, that's a really clever idea, and why aren't we doing that? So it's like when Half-Life 3, I'm just using that as an example. Assuredly, it could be any other game. I mean, I guess you can say Witcher or Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild. What they did for open world games, and it's like you look back and you're like, man, why didn't we do that before? That seems so simple to like just make a game that's this good. Like, why wasn't that on people's radar? Or the concept of the original Doom letting you move up and down with your aiming. That could have been for technical limitations, but just the fact that like all of a sudden instead of like side to side strafing, you could actually aim up and down, and you're like, oh my god, there's verticality to this movement. Like, this is craziness. So again, using Half-Life 3 as kind of that tent pole of what's that new innovation. Maybe there's something really exciting there, and I'm just poo-pooing it because I think Half-Life 2 is stupid.
I didn't want to be the downer, but I've played both Half-Life and Half-Life 2, and while I understand their importance in the history of gaming, they don't age well, and they're not great games now, I don't think. They don't seem to stand very well the test of time. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't expect them. I don't think it's for Half-Life 3, certainly. And for partly because of the reasons that you mentioned, it's kind of been so, the Half-Life franchise has been so sort of emblazoned as this pillar of first-person shooter. There's almost nothing that could come up and meet that expectation that people have had, especially since it only gets bigger and bigger every year, right? Yeah. Like, the longer they go without making Half-Life 3, the more ridiculous those expectations become. And at this point, certainly, it's almost impossible for any game ever to reach that level of hype. So No, I'm okay, and it's just me. I'm sure there are a lot of people who disagree, but yeah, I would have no interest in Half-Life 3. I don't care, but there are franchises that they have that I would like to see them continue on, or maybe they're going to be something totally new, something totally different that they really really care about.
Yeah, no, I hope so, and and that's even kind of one of the reasons that Cyberpunk 2077 excites me, is because CD Projekt Red can do a game, and they can try some things out that they maybe considered for The Witcher 3, but they're maybe a little too risky or a little different, that they're worried that they couldn't do for The Witcher 4. That would be too much of a divergence. And so now they can use the concepts from The Witcher 3 and add to it in Cyberpunk 2077, that we get an even better game than what we would anticipate, and maybe that's something that Valve has to do too. And they say, okay, look, yeah, we can't do a Half-Life 3, but we're gonna do radioactive isotope 166. I don't know, and that's a brand new something, whatever.
I like your interesting title there that you picked up. That's nice.
Yeah, but because you think, I don't think Left 4 Dead 3 it has the type of reverence that any of the other games do. So I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility. But I'm a little nervous about Portal 3. Just given the critical praise of Portal 1 and Portal 2, that they might say, I don't know if we can touch that one. I don't think we can do it any better. So that has me nervous.
Yeah, I could see that. I can see that. And in fact, listen a little bit later on in the show for my thoughts about Portal overall as well, because we're covering it in reviews. Anyways, but yeah, I agree. I don't think, Portal reached a level of cultural significance that Half-Life never did, I think. Or Left 4 Dead, certainly. I think that's that might be something that they would butt up against. Like, how do we now, was it 2007, 2008, I think it was, that the original Portal came out, and the cake is a lie and all that. Like, that was just, it was huge. It was massive. And, I don't know. It feels like if they're going to revive one of their franchises, it's going to be trying to capture lightning in a bottle again. And of course, it's going to be difficult to do. If they have a new idea for something that we haven't seen before, I'm all on board for that, because you can shed yourself of those expectations. And man, they certainly have the resources to really take a huge risk, and something that's new and fresh and cool. I don't know. Maybe they saw something in this developer with Firewatch and all that sort of stuff. They said, wow, this is exactly the kind of team we want to put on this project that we have this idea for, and we'll just let them loose on it. And maybe it'll be amazing. Or, I don't know, 2 years from now, we still have no idea whatever happened. I imagine that latter scenario is more likely, that we'll never really know why. But maybe there's something there. And I guess later on down the road, we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we will. The other thing I wanted to touch on, and this was just an interesting article here I saw on Kotaku, and they just had a little panel talking about, given the option, why would you choose to play as a man or a woman as your main character? And the panel here had a few just interesting things, but it certainly was at least just something to get me thinking about the idea of character creation and what you end up doing as, when you have the option to pick, your gender in terms of playing it as a character, or just even given a story where you have the option of picking a character one way or the other. And so I want to start with the character creation stuff, Proulx, because, from my standpoint, when I'm given the option of character creation, and it's the type of game where it's, essentially it's supposed to be an immersive experience that I am going through, right? That this is that I am supposed to assume the role of the avatar. I end up creating an avatar that looks like me. And it's great because, being a white male, I have tons of options at my disposal because they cater to my demographic. And so it's quite easy to come up with something if I want to create something like me. So, although I've been falling into the default skin more frequently than others, but, it's easy for me in that standpoint to just say, well, no, this is supposed to be me going through this experience, so it might as well look like me. Do you do the same thing? Do you say, I think it's cool to play as a female protagonist, or
So it's really interesting, and the best example I can think of for this entire sort of conversation is Mass Effect.
Right.
And I have kind of strict rules with Mass Effect. Well, at least a sort of template that I built up throughout the games. I would always start my first playthrough of a Mass Effect game because, of course, you have to play through them multiple times.
Right.
I would start my first playthrough as a male shepherd paragon. So I would be the goody two shoes dude commander shepherd. And then my second playthrough, my tough playthrough, where I'd play on expert or I think it's expert. I can't remember the difficulty name. Anyways, I would play as a renegade femshep, and tough as nails, doesn't take, punches the reporter every time, sort of female shepherd. So and I did that for 1, 2, 3. I haven't done my second playthrough on Andromeda yet, but once I do that, that's where I'll go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very strict about that specific series, but overall, I'm probably split whether I choose to play a male or female character. And it's kind of really comes down to the mood I'm in. What strikes me when I'm at the character selection screen. Who's a cooler looking character, or what kind of person do I want to create here? I prefer the flexibility to choose. You should always have the option, I think. And if I can make, for example, Skyrim, I generally tend to pick a female dark elf. That's just kind of like visually, that's what I enjoy watching and kind of thinking of myself as when I'm playing through that game. But something like, oh goodness, I can't even trying to come up with another example. So it really just depends on the game scenario and my mood at the time. So I would imagine it's pretty split evenly for me as far as my male to female ratio, as far as when I get to choose is concerned.
Sure. And I think it would be more meaningful because I think this is what doesn't ring true for me in why I get excited about having the option is I don't feel like any game has really nailed the treating the character any differently. I think probably Dragon Age, and they mentioned that in the little piece here, does the best job. Where, if you're a male, you can only romance certain characters. If you're a female, you can only romance certain characters. But I don't feel like, if you ended up playing as, a minority or someone of a different ethnicity or someone of a different gender or race or different species, that, there's not enough difference. And I know that programming on something like that would just be obscene. But, even if it was just like a small game that had more variety to how people treated you based on, the constructs of that world and how they treated people of that, race, gender, ethnicity, religious background, whatever.
Well, just remember that the difficulty slider in South Park: The Fractured But Whole is essentially what you're talking about.
That's right.
If you play the black character, you are going to have a harder time, which is, it's satire, obviously. It's
right.
Trey and Matt having fun with sort of the conventions of that system, but in a way that, kind of challenges your way of thinking. It's slightly surface level, but it's also interesting. And they you mentioned, religion as well, and they did the same thing with the first game. So
the first game, right?
But yeah, I don't know. I don't sit there. So for Dragon Age, for example, I don't sit there and have like this existential, what am I going to be? Am I going to be a man or a woman? Am I going to be straight or gay? Like it's Dragon Age does give you probably of all the big sort of franchises, it gives you the most freedom with how you're going to play that sort of stuff. I don't like sit there and like, this is the character I'm going to play. I get to the character selection screen and I say, okay, this woman that I'm creating is cool. I like kind of what I'm building here. I'm gonna go with it. And then, if it's my first playthrough and I don't have to really pick anything just for achievements or something like that, I'll go with just my emotions. Like, oh man, this I really like this woman character that I'm with. I'm gonna see if I could try to romance her, or man, or whatever. So, to me, I guess I'm much more. I don't know. I'm less. I don't base it off of anything. It's really just basically how I'm feeling at the time. So, but I can. What? So, for example, you mentioned this because it was brought up in this Kotaku conversation, and one of the panelists was like, "Well, I'll always play female characters, and I'll even in fighting games," which I thought was really interesting because I don't even consider the gender in fighting games. Like, for example, my favorite fighting game, which is Smash Brothers. My main is Kirby, but my second favorite character is Samus, and Kirby could be a girl. I mean, he's not technically, but right. And Samus could be a boy, and there's no it's just a weird thing to think about. I don't even consider personality when I'm playing fighting games like that. You know what I mean? I go with the character that I feel kind of comfortable with, that I feel works best for my play style. So it's interesting because I think it's different than how I look at it.
When she said, though, in her thing about fighting characters, is that she prefers characters with small hitboxes that are fast, and agile. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, yeah, I like that too. And then I start to think of all the characters I pick, and it's like, yeah, I guess they do tend to be female, because you have a smaller, fast-moving, character, and I tend to do that in most of my games. Like I don't care for the brutish, large, muscular, monstrous men. That's not my style. Like I don't like the Bowsers and the Donkey Kongs. I don't want the big brutes. I prefer the smaller, more agile characters just in general. And so okay, but to your point, I don't give a rip if it's male, female, amorphous, blob. It doesn't do anything for me. And especially with how typically shallow the story is on fighting games like that. What's the point? Like, I'm not, boy, I'm really rooted in Cammy's backstory. Like, I don't care.
Actually, Cammy is my go-to Street Fighter character.
Street Fighter, yeah. Like, I play Chun-Li a lot. I also play E Honda. And it's like, those are, the complete antithesis of each other.
It also kind of brings up a little bit of a separate subject, but something that's related. Like you mentioned, you typically have this heavy, brute, big, ginormous character. You have a super light, glass cannon, fragile character. I actually almost always try to create the most balanced character ever, no matter what the game type is. Like I want to be literally the jack of all trades.
Sure.
Which can backfire because some games definitely reward or are broken in their balancing with certain character types and certain playstyles. But I actually like going into a situation and feeling like I have every tool available to me and that I'm never at a severe disadvantage, that I can always overcome the situation with enough skill. So I try to find the middle balance on almost every video game I play where that sort of thing is given as an option.
No, I mean, I agree too, especially if you're only going into it playing it once. And that's where I think, if you had a smaller experience that could account for these differences, that would make it more meaningful to put time in your character creation. Because if you're going into it blind, I think we both are sitting on the fence of saying, well, you give me my first choice, it'll be I'll pick myself. Like, that's just what it is. If I don't know anything about the game, I'm going to make a character like myself. I'm going to play it like myself. And then all of a sudden, if I look at the achievements and I start saying, okay, well, now I need I need to make a badass, or I need to make, super goody two shoes, or I need to save all these people, or I need to kill all these people, or I need to do these decisions, and I need to play a different style, then going into that, then I create a persona that is not me, and I have more freedom than to pick a character, to come up with a different, maybe, if I'm going to be aggressive or evil or something. Okay, well, maybe I'll be a dark elf, and maybe I'll go along your lines and pick a female dark elf who's going to be evil and is conniving, and she'll be a rogue because I need to do the rogue class stuff, and blah blah blah. So if you had that, and then you knew that some of your dialogue options or the way people treated you, or it could even be as superficial as if you happen to be in a party with another male character and you are trying to do something and they're like, hey sugar, let me help you do that, and then you just kick his ass because you're like, don't patronize me because I'm a woman. Like, even if it's something dumb like that, where it's like, I can carry my own weapons, jackass. That could be something that would just be interesting. The fact that you addressed that your character was, a female or a male or gay or straight or whatever. Could you just pick anything to set aside just a moment of saying, we acknowledge the differences that people are choosing, and we want to, revel in that. So, again, it's not going to be, that really fits into what a true RPG is, right? Because you are assuming the role of somebody else. And in instances where I get my first crack, I'm going to assume the role of myself in a fantasy scenario. And then if you give me additional options or require me to do more playthroughs, then absolutely, I will create a persona that fits what I want. And, and then I tend to do things that are different from myself. So, female, maybe stronger, maybe faster, maybe whatever. It just depends on what the game calls for. Be interesting to see if people who aren't achievement focused do things as similarly as we do, where it's, a lot of our choices are dictated by what the achievements require. If I have to play a black character in South Park Stick of Truth because there's an achievement associated with it, then that's why I'm picking it. It's not because I, want to associate with, being a character of color.
It's interesting too. So for example, Proulx, who, he plays games all the time where he plays a lot of role-playing games where you create a character. He will create, a female character every single time without fail. He never plays male characters. He, for whatever reason, it's just kind of his thing. So I don't really know what, even for myself, I don't specifically, like I said, it comes down to my mood or how I'm feeling. There are some times that you just, I don't know exactly what goes into that decision, but there's a really interesting kind of process there, I think, for people. Yeah,
I have heard, and this isn't me, but I have heard people say that if it's a third-person game, they tend to like picking the female characters because you end up seeing a lot more of that avatar than a male character. So, or in cutscenes, they maybe like the looks a little better. That is one thing that has popped up before, but it's, I do like the fact that certainly more games are, even if they don't, well, let's focus now on, because I like the fact that games that have character creation give you the option of being male or female. Like, that's almost a given now, I think, where you can pick. Really, gender's not an option. Gender's not an issue, and it doesn't matter. You can go either way. Certainly for your silent protagonists, that's almost always the case. And even your voice protagonists, they'll typically have dual voice lines for a male or female character. But what about games that have you assume the persona of somebody? So in the Kotaku piece, they mentioned Nathan Drake or Lara Croft or Link, or, you know, a named character, do you feel the same? Like, I would really like to have the option of this character being whatever gender I choose.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. So a few months ago, I don't think it was 2 years ago, so maybe a year or so ago, maybe a little more than that, there was a gender-swapped Star Trek comic where Captain Kirk and Spock, basically everybody on board the Enterprise was gender swapped. And I thought that was fascinating. I really liked the concept of it, just to see how the dynamics would change and shift and how the story would be altered. I'm totally cool. So they also brought up Linkle, which is the female version of Link at this point.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I hate the name Linkle. That's like my most offensive thing about it. Like, just why can't you just call her Link? Like, Link is totally acceptable. So besides Linkle, besides the stupid name, I like the idea of a female Link. Why not? Why you could do the same thing with Mario or Peach or any of those characters. Go ahead. Why not give the option? I guess you run the risk of it being a little shallow. Like you mentioned, a lot of games don't really do justice to the fact that you're playing, but some games shouldn't. I mean, some games, it shouldn't really matter if you're playing as a male or a female. It should just be that experience is the same either way, because it's just an experience that isn't reliant on the gender of the character that you're playing. So why not give people, why can't you play as Natalie Drake? Why not? What difference would it make? Now, if it fundamentally makes a difference to the story, you could easily make a point there. And for example, so I talked about A Way Out a few weeks ago, and that game, I would argue, is pretty heavily dependent on a male-male relationship. There's story reasons why you would want that story to be told the way it was told. If you're playing Breath of the Wild, no, it's not going to matter if Link's a girl or a boy. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So
I think certainly from Link's standpoint, because that one's weird, because it's a silent.
Yeah.
Character.
There's no personality, anyways, at that point.
Link, Link is literally just this mindless avatar. So I don't feel. Excuse me. I don't feel strongly that Link's gender has any purpose at all, aside from the fact that the Princess Zelda is female. But even in that regard, like if it was a gay relationship between Zelda and Linkle, like I don't feel strongly one way or the other about that. But for characters where, there's a strong backstory, there's a real significant character creation aspect, or a development backstory, such as a Lara Croft or Nathan Drake. Like, I'm totally fine with just the gender that was chosen, and that's the story they want to tell. Like, I don't feel like I need a Natalie Drake. I don't feel like I need a Luke Croft.
That's
that
a good one. I like that.
That doesn't do anything for me. Like, it's not important. And it's like, what I do appreciate is that more game developers are having female protagonists, and they're actively saying, my lead is going to be female. Like, I like the fact that they're trying to balance out the gender differences between protagonists in games. But I mean, we still have a long ways to go. But as long as it's if they're going to create a strong character-based story, then absolutely go ahead, pick it and run with it, but have a good reason of why you're picking it that way. Like, if it's, you don't really care and you just picked a dude because you pick a dude, then it shouldn't matter if you pick a dude or a girl, because you're not putting enough into the story to make it worth my while to care. Whereas if you said, no, this is important for the character, this is the type of relationship I want to tell, or this is the type of love story I'm looking for, or whatever, then great. Stick to your convictions and please tell me a great story. And of course, can you make the gameplay awesome? Because I would, that obviously needs to be on the top of the list as well. But anyway, those are just kind of some thoughts there. Proulx, do you have anything else you want to add to anything we didn't cover? I've
got 2 stories here, Fream, that we didn't cover. I wanted to just go over real quick before we close out here.
Sure, I'm excited.
Hey, you heard of Fortnite, right?
I'm aware.
Yeah. So guess what? They made $1 zillion trillion.
Bagajillions.
Bagajillion of dollars. So they debuted Fortnite Mobile, and it's only on iOS, by the way, which is very important because iOS isn't even the major,
predominant
platform in mobile. And they made $25 million in its first month of availability.
Man, kids are dumb.
$25 million. It's very impressive. I
heard a lot of children on the cruise talking about Fortnite. It is so popular right now, and there's a lot of it was he must have been 10 years old or whatever, and he was talking to some other 10-year-old kids, and he's like, "Hey, are you a bush camper? You a bush camper? Really?
That's
you
funny.
bush camp?" And the one guy, and they were just whatever, and the dad was trying to be cool, and he's like, "Oh wait, will you play? You know about Fortnite?" And the dad's like, "Oh yeah, I'm great at Fortnite. I do all the Fortniting." And I was like, "Shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about." And these kids are thinking they're cool, saying words like bush camper. I'm like, you guys all suck. That whole family, you guys are all lame. But yeah, there's tons of chatter about Fortnite, and I just why would you ever play a game like that on your freaking phone? That sounds so stupid. Just the worst.
Fream. Careful, Fream. Careful. You sound very, very get off my lawn right now.
Would you play what is the most significant game that you would play that you have played on your phone?
I guess.
Have you played any first-person shooters?
Oh no.
Third-person shooters?
Nope. Oh yes, yes. Wait, sorry. I have played and gotten all the achievements in Mass Effect Infiltrator, which was a Windows phone game.
Have you played any game that has real-time combat?
No. No, Freem, I'm not disagreeing with you that it's... All I'm saying is it made $25 million in 30 days. It regardless of whether we think it's a good idea or not, it is very, very successful.
It super is. And of course, you got the news of, I don't know if this is your other story, about Black Ops 4. Obviously getting its Battle Royale mode. Because everything's going to have a Battle Royale mode.
Well, isn't it interesting, though? That'll be the first sort of major AAA title with this mode, right?
That is the theory, yes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that brings. Because will it have enough innovation? Well, with the resources that it has, will it now make a dent in this? It seems like, PUBG was the big to do 6 months ago. It seems like, at least, and this is anecdotal, but it feels like Fortnite has kind of now become the big one. Especially with this mobile news, especially with kind of it's gotten more of the lion's share of the news, of all of the momentum moving forward. It feels like Fortnite is the one that's coming out on top in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I get that feeling too.
So I don't know. But they're both still massively hugely popular games. If this rumor is true that Call of Duty is going to be doing this same sort of thing, will it move the needle? Will it completely upset the balance and come out number one? I don't know. I feel like
I don't know either.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm more tempted to say that, I would not want to get into that space at this point, because those two games are already so massively popular that it's going to be really difficult to nudge the needle.
Yeah, sounds pretty dicey.
Yeah.
The other thing they said was that there might not be a campaign in Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. You know, what the hell are they going to do? Is it all the achievements going to be zombies related? That sounds crazy.
Or multiplayer.
It's Sledgehammer next, isn't it? Who's next on the bill? Who was this year? This year was Treyarch. Oh no, Black Ops. That's Treyarch.
Oh,
so Treyarch has done multiplayer achievements before, so they would probably just add to the multiplayer achievement list for theirs. But yeah, I'd be curious about what's going to end up happening from a battle royale standpoint, and I mean, because there's already other games still coming. I mean, with the Darwin Project is out there. There's the King of the Kill with H1Z1 when that finally comes on to game preview and stuff. Like, are they going to keep that mode for us? I don't know. And Mark's going to be super flooded with it. And so,
spoilers. Crackdown 3 will have a battle royale mode. So Randy's saying vaporware. I'm saying no. It's just getting pushed back because it's got this mode in it. So
that's why it keeps getting pushed back.
Yep, exactly.
I got you. Fully destructible environments online.
Hey, that would make a significant difference.
Could be.
It could be a game changer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Freem, have you played any of these games at all?
I have not. I mean, I played PUBG. I did play PUBG that once.
The one time.
Yeah, I got second place. I saw, I'm so good at that. But I had heard that the Steam achievements have not retroactively kicked in.
Oh, yeah.
So that leads me to believe that the Xbox One achievements will not retroactively kick in. So I probably will, not be playing much more PUBG, if any. And as far as Fortnite, if the Battle Royale had achievements associated with it, maybe. I am interested in playing their Save the World campaign or whatever. Like, I kind of like tower defense. Like, I really enjoy. Did you ever play the game Orcs Must Die?
No, never have.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what I see here in this Fortnite thing, and it's a tower defense, first-person tower defense game. You build your traps, orcs come in, and then you play as the guy, and you can either use your magic abilities to kill orcs or run around and help divert their attention and watch them get chewed up by traps. And, it's kind of, very similar. There's, between waves, you can rebuild your forces or, try to protect them from, dynamite guys or whatever. So I kind of like those types of games. Like, I'd be down. And it's got, essentially, they're zombies. So, I'd be interested in playing that for achievements, but I sure don't want to be paying for it. But that version's not free yet, right?
No. You have to pay for the base game. I watch enough Fortnite to feel like I know the game well enough, but of course I haven't seen any of the single player stuff. Proulx just plays the multiplayer stuff, and he's really into it. So I kind of get the gist of what's going on. I don't know, not for me. It looks fun though. I mean, there does seem like there's a lot of action there to be had. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if you were into it, like, sure, I bet that you can get real deep into that and be cool. But like, I don't think I could even compete on a level of like some of the gameplay I've watched. Like, those people in their building and how fast they can do that kind of stuff, like, that just blows my mind.
Yeah, I can see that. So the one last thing that I wanted to bring up real quick, only because it was brought up today, it was released today, even though we have still a full week and some change to go before May. It was the games with gold stuff.
Yes.
Specifically because of the first game, but real quick, I'm just going to go down the list. Super Mega Baseball 2, The Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, Streets of Rage, and then Vanquish. So we don't have to go too far into depth, but this is the second or third, maybe the fourth release game that we're getting for free. Which is Super Mega Baseball 2, which comes out on the 1st, so we get it free.
Oh, that's a brand new game?
Yeah, we get it free right out the gate.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. That's pretty fantastic. I don't care too much because I don't care about baseball, but that's pretty significant.
Yeah, that's not so bad. And Phantom Pain's pretty. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's a pretty darn good game. I own it, so that doesn't do me much good here. But and Streets of Rage, isn't that a
terrible game?
Brawler?
Yes, in fact, it is a terrible game, Freem. I'll tell you that. Yeah, no, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up sort of game. It's the collection, so you get the 3 games, I think 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Vanquish, which I've never played, but I hear is a lot of chatter in the Discord today. Quite good, apparently.
I'm excited that it's going to be backwards compatible now. Like, that's what I look forward to, because I had that digitally on the 360, but it's just obviously sitting on my 360. Like, I don't have really no reason to play it. So I'm happy that that's going to get to come over. Actually, what is that already backwards compatible?
I do not know.
I don't remember.
That's a good question. So, but the big one is Phantom Pain, and it's a game it's one of those games that, like, oh yeah, I'll definitely play it someday. And Games with Gold is now not giving me an excuse to not play it because I don't own it. So, but it's such a big game, right? It's like 100-hour game plus a game. You know?
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get to it at some point, but just wanted to bring up the Games with Gold thing specifically because of the baseball game, but looks like another good month next month.
Well, it was interesting that, like, it came out so early. You know, typically this would be, it was a leak, right? I think that was the idea, that there was a leak image and people were not sure if it was real or not. And then, because this is the type of thing that would be a Monday thing. Like, we would expect this Major Nelson to come out with this on a Monday, and it happened, on a weekend, which is weird. But there was a lot of rumors of, like, is this even real? Like, what the hell is Super Mega Baseball? Like, but yeah. Anyway, so there we go. We get it early, or we get the announcement early. Not that we get the games early, but we get the announcement early. So that's fun.
There you go.
So I think that about does it for the show. I don't really have anything else that I need to address.
One more thing, Freem.
Oh, you do?
Sorry.
Okay.
And we can not talk about it if you mentioned it in your contest roundup, but I'm sure you mentioned Bard's Gold.
That's right. Your pick, actually.
It was my suggestion. There was a bit of controversy, Freem. You were supposed to announce it last week, and then conveniently went onto a cruise ship. So basically, most people had pitchforks and torches ready to burn the whole place to the ground because the voting was a little wonky.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and we Matriarch has been working and trying to figure out what exactly we're going to end up doing for voting moving forward, because we're trying to do these polls and people have already found the loopholes. I mean, they found them last time too, but it was, clearly not an issue. This time, the vote was so darn close that it was, became an issue, especially since I voted multiple times for Little Nightmares and State of Decay, both of them.
You canceled your own votes out?
No, I essentially was voting against Bard's Gold,
and you still lost, huh, Freem?
And it still lost, And I mentioned, you'll hear a couple comments about that in my my contest roundup following this conversation. But I probably voted 3 times for each, just because I happened to sign in on my work computer at home, which is a new IP, and my work computer at work, which is a new IP, and my mobile phone, which is a different IP. And so
Freem, as the creator of the poll, you have no respect for the integrity of what you're trying to do? I mean, that's a little shady, I gotta say.
Well, I was really excited to play Little Nightmares.
Well, now you don't deserve to play it now, Freem, and you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately, like, we'll find a system that because ultimately what I think is going to end up happening is we will be, people will be identifying their picks. Like, me as one person, I'm choosing this game, and whether we do 2 games or we do you get to vote against one, or I don't know. I don't even know what makes sense, but we've kind of been kicking around some ideas about how to do this.
Yes. So listeners,
you had any ideas?
Listeners, just be aware that we are going to come up with a system where Fream, the host, the man who's hosting the polls, cannot abuse the system. We're working on it. We need an independent investigator here. I think that's what Michelle will be doing for us. Hopefully she can come up with a system where, you can't take advantage of your situation. I kid, of course. But interesting to hear you just admit that right out loud on the show.
I said it in Discord too. But people were like, "Are you kidding? Were you joking?" No. I literally did that. But again, the idea behind this Game of the Month thing is to get me to play games that I normally wouldn't play. And so I was hoping it would give me a reason to play games I wanted to play. But, I have no problem playing Bard's Gold, especially since it's Games Pass. I'm interested.
I have no problem playing Bard's Gold, except for voting against it 6 times for 2 other separate games.
Actively voting against it. But hey, the people have spoken, and likely doing similar things that I did. We'll get this all sorted out and cleaned up for... because we will definitely be keeping the staff pick, the community pick, and the patron pick. So we'll still present 3 games. They're still we're trying to figure out what we'll do, but the community pick, right? Because Little Nightmares was highly regarded from the community that they're interested in, and it received a lot of votes here. Who knows how many are real and fake? But
some of those numbers. I mean, since it was you that did some of those.
Right, but it's certainly not that was its only chance, so we should never see it again. But we also don't want to be okay, well, it's still the top community vote getter, so let's just keep it on the list until it wins. It's we're not going to do that either. So, what makes sense? Is it do we have a top 5 community picks and then one randomly shows up? Do we have on a 3-month rotating schedule between the top picks, and then when one comes off, we put a new one on there? I don't know. Again, we are happy to hear any sort of suggestions, comments, things about what you might want to see in the Game of the Month things. Because the one thing we don't want to do is make it so people aren't interested in participating. So it's certainly me picking the game. Because I am absolutely going to be streaming it on Sundays. That's not what people want. They don't want me telling them what to play. Games that people have already completed, well, they don't want that either. So, how do we pick games that interest enough people and have enough cool things to talk about? That's kind of the goal. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think there is a challenge here of, like you say, finding the good balance between something that is accessible for a lot of people. You're not too expensive or already part of games with gold, or not games with gold, or Games Pass. And then, of course, where not too many people have played it, something that people haven't really heard of or really dived into. There's a balance there, and it's never going to be perfect, and it's not going to be perfect every month, certainly. There's going to be months, maybe there'll be a 2, 3, 4 month period where you've either played the game or you have no interest in it. But we want to kind of find the best games for the most amount of people. And if you, like Fream says, if you have any ideas for systems or things that we can put in place where we can sort of shift the curve in the direction of the maximum amount of players that would be interested, let us know. Actually, don't tell Fream, because we just learned he's a dirty cheater. But you can send those to Matriarch, and we'll come up with some systems for these games, because we like the games of the month. It's a lot of fun to have something to talk about with the community, and we just have to figure out the best way to come up with them.
Yeah, agreed. So with that, I think that does put our show to an end, and I want to thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed listening to it, because we've enjoyed recording it. And if you are out there listening and wanted to help us out, a free way to help us out is to provide a review on iTunes or wherever. Let us know what you think about the show. If you're interested in financially supporting the show, well, we do have a Patreon page set up, patreon.com/Z2Z. That would be awesome. We give away a free or a game each month to a winner, randomly chosen winner. So if you're interested in getting a part of that, then you can head over to our Patreon and see how that works. If you want to contact us, well, we have a website, z2z.com. That's where the show resides. You can stream it directly from there. And you can reach us on Twitter at Z2Z, ZEDTOZED, or email us, contact@z2z.com. We got a lot of rest of the show coming up, things that would be interesting to listen to. So have some fun with that. Other than that, Proulx, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at WhatUpDan. That's the number one, not the word. Everywhere else you can find me on Xbox and TA under Proulx. Just check the show notes for the spelling, because that's just easier than me trying to tell you.
There you have it. And as far as me personally, if you're interested, I'm Freamhole. You can find me at that, FREAMWHOLE. That's my gamer tag. That's my TA. That's everything. So if you want to find me personally, that's a great place to go. Other than that, I want to thank everybody that's made this show possible. And on behalf of Proulx, I've been Brandon. And to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening. And we'll catch you next episode.
Z2Z Podcast presents Review Z.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Review Z. I am your host for this segment, Proulx, and I have with me, as always, my friend Mango. How are you doing this week, Mango?
I'm doing all right. I guess I'd be your co-host.
Co-host, in fact. Yes, that's right. That's true. And not just co-host, but G-Task partner as well.
G-Task partners.
So
it takes Proulx to Mango.
It, in fact, does take Proulx to Mango, and a little birdie told me that we have some information to give out a little early for the listeners who catch this right away.
You would be correct, sir. So this upcoming week, the bonus snippet, the spoiler for the people that listen early on Wednesday, will be for it would be Overlord. So the goal is to be in the top 25% of scorers in the single player mode. The single player individual G-Task scoring, not the group, because the group is finishing up right now as we're talking.
That's
As
true.
you listen to this, group will be just about over with.
And we did not even attempt to go for the group.
No way.
So, which was to double like TA and Gamerscore and
achievements. Not
achievements. Happen. Yeah. From week to week, that's a tough thing to do. How about this one? You think you'll go for this one?
Oh yeah, this one I got this one.
Yeah, I think I'll go for this one as well. I got a whole bunch of easy games I can burn. So
I was really disappointed. I mean, not to keep talking about G-Task when this is Review Z, but we didn't get to hear our team name yet as being like the top Z team a couple weeks ago.
So if Fream covers both the week he missed and the current week in this week's Review Z, which you may have Roundup, Community Roundup, which you may have already heard. He actually may in fact have covered us. I don't know.
Hope he does.
I hope he does too, because we worked
really
hard.
tried hard for that.
Yeah, we did. So if Fream didn't cover it, let it be known that our team was number one as far as the Z community groups go 2 weeks ago.
That's right. Watch out, sure enough. We're coming.
That's right. That 1 week, yeah. And if he did cover it, thanks, Fream, and just a friendly little reminder. But that's not primarily why we're here. We're here to talk to you about a game called Bridge Constructor Portal. Now, what kind of information do you have for us, Mango?
Well, let's see. Bridge Constructor Portal was developed by Clockstone Studio and was published by Head Up Games. Clockstone Studio was also developed the other two Bridge Constructor games, which was Bridge Constructor Stunts and Bridge Constructor. It was released December 20th, 2017 on Steam, and we got it on Xbox a couple months ago, February 28th of 2018. And it is a sale price of $14.99 on the Xbox One, but amazingly, on Steam, it's only $10, $9.99. And then if you want to play it on your phone, it's $4.99.
So lots of things to talk about here real quick. Do you have any history with the Bridge Constructor series at all?
I've played the original quite a bit. I really got into it when it released because it kind of reminded me of the mobile game Tiki Towers, where you had to put like the sticks together and make a bridge.
Okay.
Or
gotcha.
In middle school, I don't know if you're middle school or was it high school, where you had to build like a bridge out of popsicle sticks and see how much it would hold. Did you have to do that?
I don't think I did, but I know what you're talking about.
So I guess I was in one of the nerd classes or something like that. So it kind of reminded me of that, where you basically have to make a bridge, and you have to have your guy make it across the bridge without the bridge collapsing, or multiple guys or carts or whatever you want to call them.
I never played Bridge Constructor before, but I remember when it kind of was a thing, like when it first became popular, and you would see all these sorts of videos that people would put of crazy bridges or, you know, silly scenarios that were going on. So it's a physics-based game.
Correct.
Where you have to actually work out the best sort of solution to get from point A to point B.
Yes, and that's how all of them are. This one adds the extra element of having portals from the game Portal or Portal 2.
Yep. Yeah, not just the portals, because you have the bounce goo and the super zip goo as well. I can't remember the official names of those.
Yeah, I forget what they're called.
But
goo. We'll just call them goo.
We call them goo. Yeah. So my exposure to Bridge Constructor was pretty nil, but I enjoyed the experience, especially towards the beginning. I'll say that. What do you think of this game overall?
You know, I almost view it where it's too much of a mobile game. I mean, I like it in small doses.
Yeah.
Kind of like where I pick it up, maybe do a level or two, set it down. Then the next day, I'll pick it up, play a level or two. Just the game isn't bad by any means. It's actually very well polished and very well done, but the controls are a little bit tedious, and I mean, you really have to get the bridge pieces in the exact right place, because if it's off by just a hair, or just a little bit too long or a little bit too short, you fail every single time. Yep.
And even when you're doing it, so it didn't take me long to get into following a guide, you know? Yeah. I think it was like level 8 or something.
Well, you got further than I did. I made it to 6.
Yeah, it was... I tried to hold out. And then at that point, I just surrendered to it. But the problem is, even with a guide, like a picture guide, and you assume this is the best way to do it, at least that people have found, and you follow it exactly as best you can. Of course, you're looking at a picture and trying to replicate that on your screen. Even at the best of times, it feels like your bridge is going to collapse under the next car that tries to drive through.
And even if you follow them directly, there's a lot of the elements where your carts go flying in the air, and if it doesn't hit exactly in the right place, then the next cart hits it, and then you fail. You just it's way too imprecise of controls for how precise you have to be, but like I said, it doesn't make the game bad. It just makes it a little bit more tedious than it should be.
Yeah, I agree. And especially the higher level you get, the more frustrating it is. So, you know, so there's 60 levels in the game, and it's broken up into 10 level chunks.
Yep.
And so for the first, I'd say half of the game, up to like level 30 or something like that, it's slowly introducing you to more elements. Like, you don't start with portals, but then you get the portals, then you get different colored portals, then you get the gel, then you get and all of that works really well. And then you hit this kind of wall where it's just like, okay, it's more about, it's tedious. It's tedious to build the solution, because you're going to get one little thing wrong, and then you're going to have to rebuild your entire bridge to get across properly, or you'll do it.
If you get one little piece wrong and you run your cart through and it fails, and then you see where it fails, and then you have to rebuild the entire bridge, which might have taken you 15, 20, 30 minutes to do.
Yep.
Just for one level.
Yes, and sometimes you can squeak by and beat. So for every level, the immediate goal is to get one car through the level, and then the kind of the stretch goal, or at least for the achievement people, which we are, you want to get the whole convoy through, and that's usually between 3 and sometimes 10, or I don't know if it went up to 15, but it was a whole bunch of cars.
The largest I saw was 10.
Yeah, so you may be able to squeak by with one car, But if there's just a train of cars coming through, it's going to just tear your bridge all apart. So
I was entertained by the multiple carts though, because each cart was a little bit different, and your little portal guys would like fall out.
Yep.
The main driver would stick around, but the other guys would fall out and fall into electrical beams and get shot and stuff like that. That was actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I liked I love Portal, so I really liked the whole Portal aspect of the game. I think they nailed the tone and the humor.
Oh, totally.
And the Portal stuff is fun, and of course they had I think her name's Ellen McLean, if I remember correctly, come in and voice for GLaDOS again, and that stuff is really good. I don't think I would have been as motivated to get as far in this game if it wasn't for the Portal aspect of it.
Totally agree, because otherwise you're just building bridges, and there's not a lot of motivation for anything. I mean, she would talk at the beginning of her level, like explaining like something that happened in this level or something that you were doing. So it kind of kept you engaged. Trying to give it a game that doesn't have a story, kind of having a story. I was entertained by the cutscenes too. Like the one after the first 10 levels was hilarious, because you're a character, you're one of the portable characters, and you're trying to advance in your job. And after the first 10 levels, they decide to plug your computer in.
Yeah, it's all that sort of little stuff that really adds flavor to this experience. Like I said, not having any sort of experience with the previous Bridge Constructors, I could see how it would kind of become a slog after a while of just doing these physics-based puzzles over and over again. At least with the Portal trappings, it gives you a little bit of extra, okay, this is fun, this is silly, it's cool to kind of see where it's going to go next.
And they all are a little bit tedious. The original one, which is probably why I haven't finished, I got to the point where I didn't want to spend 45 minutes trying to redo a bridge and do a bridge and do a bridge. Even with a guide, I'm looking at a picture of it, and it still just got a little frustrating. But it's a physics-based game. I mean, some people would be all about it. If you're an architect, you probably would love this kind of thing, because it's kind of just over-the-top ridiculous.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about the achievements. I am, I think, 75% of the way through. I'm on level 51 of 60. Like I said, there's 60 levels in the game. And you have to not only do every level, you have to complete every level, but you also have to do essentially the bonus mission for every level, which is doing the convoy. That makes the game a lot longer and a lot more difficult. But it's not, if you're following a guide, it's not bad. I'm at 12 hours right now, and I would say 4 hours to get the completion is probably doable if you follow a guide.
Yeah, and I figured 15 to 20 hours probably for the full 1,000.
Yep.
I think TA had people putting in 10 to 15, and I don't think you can do it in 10. Even with the guide, you would have to be perfect every single time. Yes,
even like when I was following the guides, like I said, there were a couple of levels where I would do everything recreate everything as faithfully as I could with what was given to me. And even then I would have to kind of gauge how the carts went through the levels and adjust accordingly, or, play with it a little bit.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing. Just a little tweak here, a little tweak there. I mean, and we're talking minute changes to be successful. I mean, I
like
can
a
only
10-degree.
Can you imagine how long this game would be without a guide? Probably 30, 40.
I couldn't do it. I don't think I would have the patience to do it.
I don't think I would either.
It's like I said, I played the first half dozen levels without a guide, and it was fun. Afterwards, it becomes just too much. Yeah. Because if you're going to spend, 30 minutes putting together what you think is the solution, only to find out that you're way off and you just have to start over, nah, man, there's just not enough. I don't have enough patience for that.
Yeah, and that actually brings me a nice segue to the other thing that bugged me. There was no music when you're building anything.
Yeah.
It was just quiet. There was the sound effects and then nothing. It was just a void of any sound.
Yeah,
maybe just a little elevator music, something in the background, just kind of.
And Portal has elevator music in it, so it's like you would think that'd be easier enough. And you spend 85-90% of your game in build mode.
Yeah.
So I was actually playing next to my girlfriend, and she commented, she's like, "Oh, there's nothing going on. Why is this game so quiet?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's just. I mean, it'll play a little jingle when you put it into active mode when the cars are trying to go through the course. But yeah, it's weird.
I don't
quiet.
know why they have the noise when you're active, but they don't have it when you're building, which is what you have to do. That's why it's called Bridge Constructor, not Bridge Watcher.
Yeah, exactly. So, that part really bothered me as well. But, I think there's something here. I think the game is maybe 25% longer than is necessary.
Yeah, I would agree with that. About 25%.
But I enjoyed the early levels, and I enjoyed the portal bits, and I think the overall experience is good. And like you said, if you're really into like this physics stuff, you can have fun with it. You could really come up with some creative solutions, I'm sure, for some of these puzzles.
I could see people that are like maybe like the track. What's those track builder games? It's track.
Oh, Trackmania?
Trackmania, right? Stuff like that. I think people might enjoy it because that's the same kind of thing where it's physics-based, where you build the track. It's just this is more 2D rather than the 3D driving experience.
Yep, I could see that. Otherwise, $15, I don't know. It's tough to recommend.
It seems a lot, especially when you know it's cheaper on every other device. It's not bad, but I don't know. I would say $9.99, maybe match the Steam price. It would be fair. And if you got it on sale for that price, I think it would be good. Even maybe $12, I think I could justify. I mean, you get a good amount of time in the game, a good amount of time of gameplay. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But it is a little bit tedious for, I think, most people's tastes.
Yeah, I agree. If it seems to be up your alley, that like maybe the minute details of what angle are you hitting this jump at, and how far are you going, how fast do you have to be, that sort of stuff is intriguing to you, then this game is going to be right up your alley. You'll have a great time with it.
Yeah, and if you don't like that and you hate having to redo things over and over again, probably should avoid this one.
Yeah, probably. Yep. But that's literally just part and parcel of the design of this type of game. So we can't blame the game for it. Like we said, it's not a bad game. It's well designed. Just know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and it's just a little too much. Too much unneeded things.
I absolutely agree. But I didn't hate it, and I'm hoping to get through it this week, finish it out.
You're way ahead.
It wasn't
of me,
too bad.
But I hope to get through it as well.
Yep. So there you go. That was Bridge Constructor Portal. And we will catch you guys all in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. See you later.
Hey, everybody. It's time for the community roundup. I know I missed last week. I had a lot going on with my trip, and so I didn't get around to recording anything. So we got 2 weeks' worth of GTASC roundups here. That is the Great True Achievement Score Challenge for 2018. We had Period 13, which ended on April 11th. Our top Zeds for the week on the team side was It Takes Proulx to Mango. The team of Proulx and Mighty Mango, they got 5th overall. The near miss was for Super Sandwiches. The team of Big L and Matriarch, they were 25 places over elimination, about 300 TA. And we lost 2 teams, Brown Coach 2018, the team of Pickle Squid and Bonine 2. And Northern Lads Like Gravy, the team of Dave Kinetic and Dat Boy Treasy. As far as Period 14 goes, and that was updated this last Wednesday, our top Zed again is Eat, Sleep, Complete, Repeat, the team of Smirnov and Redemption. They got 3rd overall. The near miss was for Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, the team of Delta and Salzbar. They were 4 places over elimination, about 40 TA. And I didn't have anyone that I saw that were eliminated from the team side. So maybe I just missed them, or, because I wasn't around to see on Wednesday. But that's what I got. So if I missed you, sorry. Hopefully I can pick it up next week. On the individual side, well, we had Smirnov takes it back-to-back weeks. He was 15th overall in Period 13. Beat Weasel Pizza by just 100 points. And he was 3rd place overall this most recent week. The near miss in Period 13, Cherry Coke Kid. Last place above elimination, only 6 TA separating. And the near miss from last week was Mystic Typhoon. 5 places over elimination, about 100 TA. As far as actual eliminations, well, in Period 13, we lost Beer Me 7, J Black, and Min Pin. And the only person I saw get eliminated from last week was, well, it was me. Fream hole. Yeah, I should have used some bonuses. Went down with a whole boat ton of points just sitting there. Hey, it happens. It is toward the end of April, so finish up what you got left on your random to-do list. We will do another round of just kind of the same old. Start a brand new global leaderboard here for May. There's still conversations happening about what we could do for possible, new versions of the random to-do list, but we're not going to make any changes in the near future. So, if you at least earned one achievement in the month of April, well, you'll get a brand new list in May, no problem. If you did not get one, or you're new to the podcast or new to the website, and that website is forum.zzed.com, well, you can just simply ask for one in the random to-do list contest thread, and we'd be happy to give one to you. As far as April, the community challenge for April, well, it's Happy Birthday, Tom Clancy. So make sure you get your entries in for anything that you've done in Tom Clancy games, both in the current month of April or anything that you've previously completed. So, and achievements that you've earned this month, you get 1 entry into the pool. And if you have any previous completions, you get 5 entries. So make sure you get on top of that. April also brings us a double dose of gamertag challenges. We have Kronos, spelled XPVOVOS, and Cowboy Killer 360. Those are the 2 gamer tags. You can get 10 entries for that for each gamer tag. And, there are chances for substitutions, right? The X is a little tricky, the Y. So look at the O's as well. Take a look at the website forum.zzed.com, see what you can and cannot substitute, and get credit that way. Game of the month for April, of course, has been Sea of Thieves. I will do my last Sea of Thieves community session here this upcoming Sunday. Well, by the time you already heard it, it was just passed. And then we'll be moving on to May's vote of Bard's Gold. That was the staff pick for the month, and as voted on by our team. And as far as voting and stuff goes, yeah, we're going to be figuring out how to do that in the near future here. We still will keep a Patreon pick, a staff pick, and a community pick, but how we go about, figuring out how that pans out, since we had so many people voting who likely aren't going to be participating, or they voted multiple times. It happens. Anyway, we're going with Bard's Gold, which is funny because that was the only one I didn't pick. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. I didn't have any interest in playing it, so you know what? That's what Game of the Month's all about. Get me to try some new things that I was not planning on. So we have that, and then finally, it's our Patreon. The end of month is coming. You have an opportunity here to get on board and get yourself a full game edition. We will give away a full game at the end of this month. So when May rolls around, if you're interested in supporting our show financially, thank you so much. It's absolutely wonderful that you do that. And you can head over to patreon.com/Z2Z for that. And then you get an awesome gold name in Discord. So, yeah, that on top of the chance of winning an Xbox One. Or I guess you can have a 360 game if you want. But there's that. Finally, it's Discord. If you're not in our Discord chat, that's the place to be, man. That's so much fun over there. You can get the link to the site at any time at discord.io/Z2Z. Tons of LFG, looking for groups. We had some community boosts going on, some wrapping up here in the near future, and just tons of great conversations. So, and of course, our Game of the Month conversation will be happening over there as well. So if you're looking for anything or just a great community to work on achievements with, that's the place to go. Discord.io/Z2Z. Hey, it's good to be back. But I'm going to sign off for this week, and I will see you guys on the forums and in Discord. So we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Hi, this is RTDL Bot, and you might know me as RTDL Bot from Z2Z's Discord chat, and you are listening to What the L.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the L with the RTDL. I am Big L.
And I am Elroy. OMG, it's great to be back for another episode.
Oh, LOL. Are you still PO'd that they called you Elroy OMG in the show notes? SMH.
FWIW, in my POV, they should really be getting my name right, even though it is right this week.
Let it go. BTW, how come you just barely made the top 10? WTF?
And OYB, if you must know, I was shopping for KY jelly at CVS.
Whoa, TMI. That's NSFW.
What's the big deal? Everyone gets chapped lips every once in a while. What have you been doing?
Well, my BFF IRL matriarch, aka Michelle, and I have been playing Halo MCC. We both just happened to get the same exact achievement for RTDL. The hero achievement for beating Halo 2 on Heroic. I am HO. Random should be a little more random.
I think this intro was DOA. Are you ready for an update?
Yay.
All right. Well, let's see here. Get my notes together here. All right. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. So I'm professional. He ran the gamut. He was an inspiration to us all. He pursued the Ultra and was a beacon of light in this dark RTDL world. We all witnessed his pursuit of perfection month after month. 25 up, 25 down. Full combo after full combo after full combo. And then, after 3 successful months, he entered his 4th month with it all on the line. And then...
He choked.
Yeah, man, he choked big time. Big time choke. Kingsman just had to go and pop one of his achievements offline, and now he just has no way of getting his Ultra. 3 months, and then this.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, I know the internet is somewhat new in the land of the king, but come on, Kings, man.
Thanks, Kings man.
Now I must find a new RTDL hero. We deserve someone reliable that won't trip at the finish line, someone that will drink obscene amounts of coffee because coffee is for closers.
How about that NBA Kirkland dude?
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that guy. NBA Kirkland. The baller. This guy. He got them all. Some could say he keeps it 100.
I say he keeps it 100.
Well, that's because you're such a hip dude. Nobody is more hip than you.
I see what you did.
100 out of 100? He dared to dream. He dared, L. He dared.
I mean, what the L, Kingsman?
100 achievements. 25,378 points. A perfect and quite impressive tally.
Kingsman 2,625. An imperfect Ultra. Sad, really.
Well, and a quick look at the leaderboard. It seems that Wise Guy AT is in first with his full combo, including an impressive Pool Nation FX pop of All-Star. We challenged old Wiznai AT&T last week to let out the cells and go for this pop, and pop it he did. 'Twas inspiring it was.
Kettle corn?
This Chivo worth 15.63 topped off an impressive month for Wisenayat, who amassed 6,327 points. Quite the accomplishment. Much better than my crappy full combos back when I got those. You know, stupid Galaga. And stupid Lego Marvel superheroes. Those stupid gold bricks. You like gold bricks, Lego? You like those gold bricks? Well, how about a gold brick through your corporate window at TT Games? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be a shame if as many bricks as you want Nacho to go found their way through, you know, hypothetically, 85 King Street in Maidenhead, Berkshire. A real shame there, you gold brick collecting masochists. You make me sick.
Oh, Elroy. What are you doing here, bud? I don't think you can threaten game studios on the Z2Z podcast. It's not a good look.
Well, I was just saying that it would be a shame. I'm on your side here. You know, it'd be a shame. It's just purely hypothetical that someone should throw any hypothetical gold bricks through any hypothetical windows at 85 King Street in Maidenhead, Berkshire. It was a dramatization.
Yes. Well, let's keep the drama moving, please.
Yes. So, congrats, Wizzy Nyat Nyat.
Was that the Three Stooges?
Well, you know, congrats on his full combo. In second, it is the Ultimate Warrior himself.
Nice one. Same Kirkland time, same Kirkland channel.
NBA Kirkland, who will be covered a tad bit later, but whose big money achievement worth 668 points was eviction notice for completing the game in the unfairly panned Grabbed by the Ghoulies masterpiece.
Oh, so good, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't know why everybody thinks it's bad.
My God, the camera especially was amazing.
Yeah. You want bad, play Crypt of the Serpent King. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyhow, Wanda's husband's full combo was worth a mere 27 points less than Wise Guy Yat Yat. It was... It would be a shame, El, if Puppet Master NBA Kirkland pulled some strings in the background and had his fan base pop any achievements in the collection that were on Wise Guy Yat's list, and thus artificially lowered his ratios while simultaneously getting the same fans to add games on their list to their collection. And, you know, bada bing, bada boom, those 27 points kind of go away. You go into the lead.
I can't stand it. I know you planned it. I'm going to set it straight this water cake.
That was unexpected. Following these non-full combo having folks is Toad's Tile Venom with his army of Halo Master Chivo collection pops, bringing his total to 22 thus far. In fourth is Kingsman, who has...
Seriously. This guy. You know, if there's any gold bricks left over at 85 King Street, hypothetical 85 King Street, Maidenhead, Berkshire, we should take out, I don't know, a Sharpie and write Kingsman on 2,625 of those bricks, because what he did was as dumb as a brick.
Whoa.
In fact, anyone got a bag of hammers? Let's start running on those too.
Oh, man. Oh, you might want to dial it back a little bit there, man. I'm sure that his pain is Forza real.
Whoa.
And, you know, rounding out the top five is Cowboy Killer 360.
Who?
Yeah. Who holds a slim lead over, well, you, actually.
That jerk. Where are those bricks?
Despite having 4 less pops than you, but he's still ahead of you. It seems a little odd. But the reason being is that he has all his high ratio stuff done, with 3 pops having ratios of over 4, including 565 points from his Project Spark for Hitmaker. For either, that was hit, not hip. For either 50,000 downloads on his worlds, or for playing for 14 hours of community games, something like that. Never played that one.
Both sound terrible, honestly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. But, so, anyhow, that is your current top 5. But this week is all things NBA Kirkland. Who did it? Who deserves an epic high five followed by an uncomfortably long flex? This update is for you, Potato Chip. It is your RTDL update, NBA Kirkland edition. And the honorable spot is no other than the skeptical one, who has no reasons to be skeptical of Kirkland's dominance.
Kingsman, on the other hand.
Skeptical Mario lands on the NBA Kirkland list with his Ash Creed Chronicles India pop of consistent combo for getting the maximum score multiplier in any memory sequence. Speaking of memory, if my memory serves me, this pop is worth a whopping 1.05 Kirkland flexes. As Wanda's husband can tell you, consistency is the key. Month after month, 25 up, 25 down. Consistency.
You know, also, it helps to not pop it offline. I mean, this Kingsman guy, what's going on here? It's like worse than a curator. Like, what's really going on?
In fifth place is Elroy. Love that guy. Who makes the list with his freshly Student Achievement Factory popped achievement, thanks Aaliyah, of Rank Halftime Champ from 100 Ways, worth 1.33 in NBA Kirkland flexes. He is not the halftime champ. He is most certainly the quarterly champ with his Ultra combo. 100 Ways? That's like 1 way per pop for NBA Kirkland. Child's play.
99 RTDL achievements on the list. 99 RTDL achievements. Pop one while you're offline, and it's 98 RTDL achievements on the list.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's fun. Thank you. Come on, Kingsman. Jeez, man.
In fourth place, we have Eld.
Oh, sweet. I made it.
No. Elda. Elda makes the epic NBA Kirkland list with his Hail Mary achievement from NBA Playgrounds, worth 1.59 NBA Kirkland flexes. Hail Mary? L to the na. L Kirkland, that handsome RTDL legend. May he rule over and guide the RTDL for years to come. Or at least until May, when the RTDL will likely be revamped, ruined by the new format implemented by the suits in Minnesota. So that, and NBA Kirkland has already said that he's taking an RTDL break next month, so, there's that. So, yeah, hail Kirkland, and congrats to Elda for his NBA Playgrounds pop for scoring from his backcourt without using a lottery pick or something like that. NBA Playgrounds. Yeah, NBA Kirkland. See the connection?
Yeah. West Philadelphia, Kirkland born and raised on NBA Playgrounds. He spent most of his days. Word up.
Man, I'm on fire today, man. In third place is Wiz Inya T.
Ooh. Sail away, sail away, sail away.
Wiz Inya popped G performance by scoring 48 points with Kevin Durant back before he was a trader in NBA 2K12, worth, ironically, 2.12 NBA Kirkland flexes. NBA 2K12? Or like NBA 25K 378? Definitely a G performance. Look up G in the Urban Dictionary. 1, a gangsta. 2, $1,000. 3, a term of endearment. 4, NBA freaking Kirkland.
Kingsman's nothing but a G-Dank, baby. Popped a Chivo offline makes him crazy. RTDL is the label that pays him.
In second place is a newcomer to the What the L mentions. It is Dark Ryloff, who makes it on the list by winning.
You need a halt.
Yeah, there's it's a throaty sound in there, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Who makes it on the list by winning a round without getting hit 100 times in Street Fighter X Tekken. For the record, that's 1 time of not getting hit each round per 1 achievement that Kirkland has popped this quarter. Because he got a lot of pops. I mean, a lot. I mean, like 100 of them.
It's a hundy. Get it right.
Yeah.
Which is definitely more than 99, like some people. Kingsman.
Oh, Dark Ryloch thus earned the achievement of, I think I made it German there, of a perfect victory worth an impressive 3.59 NBA Kirkland flexes. It might have been a perfect victory for Dark Ryloch but it was an ultra victory for Kirkland. Nevertheless, congrats on the pop and making the list, Dark Olach.
For popping it online. Just saying.
And in first place, it is the Vegemite eating wonder, Beast Smittle.
Smitty.
Who wins out this week by killing 10 enemies with one shot in R-type dimensions and earning the achievement of Combo Master. It may only be worth 25.378 honorary Kirkland flexes. Killing 10 enemies with one shot? Child's play for Kirkland. Kirkland kills Chivos by the hundreds. And if he were here, he'd consume the RTDL with fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. Smitty can be the combo master if he wants, but Kirkland is the ultra combo master. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah. And I don't know. You know, he's got that, but, you know, Wanda's proud of him too, or something. And that is your RTDL update. NBA Kirkland edition.
TTYL.